Good afternoon, craft friends. How are you doing on this wonderful? It's Sunday for me. And you know, on Sundays, I have my sacred time. So I had my sacred time. And then I had a reflection time. And that is why I'm here today, just kind of doing some of the things or discussing some of the things I had in my sacred time. So in my sacred time, sorry, couldn't get that out. In my sacred time today, I reflected on how would I define my practice. And I had to think about that for a minute. And I'm talking about my magical spiritual practice. How would I define that? And you know what? It came to me that it would be difficult for me to define. But I'm going to do the best I can. And then I'm going to ask you, how would you define your magical spiritual practice? How would you define your witchy practice? How would you define it? So here's my attempt at that. Be it as it may, it's kind of difficult for me to put it in words. But I thought about it that my practice is definitely eclectic. It is layered like a cake. At the base of that would be my hoodoo practice, because I feel like that was some parts of that was given to me traditionally, hand down. Now some things I've learned and redefined and done on my own, but the base of that is who I am. And just like me, my family is very mixed, as you would want to say. When I did, well, actually, my daughter and I, when we did our DNA, we found that we have Celtic roots, we have Latino roots, and we have Native American roots, which is no surprise to us because, you know, we know the history of some of our people and our great-grandparents and so on and so forth. And so it kind of justified what I'd heard and known for myself, and met some of those people, some not so much. And of course we had African roots from Benin and some other places. So I feel like my practice honors all those parts of me, and that is why it's layered. That is why my practice is eclectic. And I would dare to say, for some eclectic practitioners, I think you're called to different traditions, and it may be something connected to your ancestors. I feel like I'm called to different parts of different traditions because those traditions are part of my ancestry. So all of those things come to me or drawn, but my practice is so intuitive. It is, to me, I feel like the ancestors guide me along my practice. If I'm doing a working, I'll hear in ringing from my spirit that guides me, and I feel like it's the voice of my ancestor that'll say, do this, don't do that. Try this, make this will work well. And I listen to those yearnings and directions from inside myself, and that is how I do my work. Sometimes I may look some things up in the book to get different books to get ideas and that kind of thing, but intuitively I never do it. Either I don't have the supplies, but intuitively something will say, no, don't use this, I need you to use this, and I needed you to do it like this. So, you know, sometimes even traditionally how I've learned to do some things in some ways, when I actually do the working, it may turn out nothing like that because that's not how I was intuitively driven. So my practice is so very intuitive, and I listen to the directions of the spirit of the ancestors as they guide me along through this working. And I feel like my practice pours out from inside me, reaching back to all of my ancestral roots. And when I do a working for myself or someone else, it's the totality of my ancestral spirits and myself working together to bring forth this work. And so my practice is very celebratory of all that is in me and all that it is a part of me, because I feel like magic, I've been drawn toward it, I've been called toward it, and I've been practicing for a long time. And the thing is that sometimes I would put it away and then but I would always be called back to it. Even now, sometimes I'll take a break, but I am called back to it. And so it's a drawing, it's a pulling, it's a intuitive yearning, it's directions, it's thoughts, it's feelings. It's not always doing the doing things the way I was originally taught, but it's the calling from my soul, from my spirit, from my ancestors that call me to do workings in a certain way. So, like I said, it's so very intuitively guided, and I listen to that. And I honor that, and I honor the traditions of all of those Native American, Latino, Latinx, my Hispanic roots. I honor all of that because that's a part of me. And so I really feel like my practice is all the parts of me that come together that bring forth magic. What else can you say? And it's very spiritual. Like, I couldn't pull apart. And I know people say like hoodoo or certain things are not spiritual, but to me they are, because it is spirit driven. It is driven from my spirit, from my soul, from the ancestors that speak to me and through me. It is very spiritual to me, to the point that sometimes before I work, I have to have that time to ground, to reset, and to tune myself for the moment so that I can hear the yearnings, I can hear the nudgings that come along with my practice. So it is very spiritual to me. And then how would I define the ethics of my practice? Well, I would define the ethics of my practice, even drawing from all that I am, and that a part of me is honors that wicked tradition away. Harm not do as you will. Yeah, to a point, and I honor that. I don't just go around willy-nilly doing stuff to people because you made me mad. You pulled me over in the car, or you know what? I don't. However, if you do something to me and mine, honey, you can pull some things out of me that would scare you and frighten you, and I know that's a part of me too. And I honor that. I feel like that's the protective part of me. To honor the parts of hoodoo that said your work should be about justice. Would never do anything, honey. I won't start the fight, but I will finish it if you take me there. And I feel like that's all a part of our humanness. It's really a part of most women, because we have that mother bear instinct. We can be kind and sweet and loving, but if you do something to our children, to our mate, honey, you can pull another part of us that you may not be ready for, and just will be like, oh my God. But that's the part of me that I try to keep. That's the tiger part of me. That's the panther. I feel like the Black Panther is my animal spirit, and that is the panther in me that don't go there. I can leave you alone. We can be friends, we can be peaceful, but don't go there. But that's a part of me too, shadow part, whatever you want to call it. It is a part of me. All of that is a part of me, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And as a magical practitioner, all of that is a part of who I am and a part of my practice at times. But there is the discipline part of me too, that weighs the good and the bad, and that brings it to a focus of what am I truly about. And I am about love and peace and justice for all people. So it is, thank God, that is that part of me too. All of that is me. All of that is part of my practice. All of that is the ethics of who I am as a magical practitioner. And I'm so intertwined with my magical spiritual practice that it is definitely a part of me and comprises all the other parts of me and celebrates all that I am. So there you go. How about you? How would you define your magical practice? What are your ethics, if there are any, for your practice? Have you ever, I mean, most of us think about that at certain points. I have wrote or written some things down in the past, kind of defining that. And even as I get older, that changes over time. And I think it's sometimes good to think about that and write it down, if you will, about what your practice looks and feels like to you. What are the ethics of your practice? Just to kind of go over and look over. Well, that's all for today. Just some things I was reflecting on. Some things that make you go, That was one of my things to make you go, moment. You be blessed. You be powerfully. You be beautifully and powerfully all that you are. Have a wonderful day and a wonderful week. Be blessed.